In the vast expanses of the American West, where the land stretches endlessly under a canopy of blue sky, there roamed an animal that became the very symbol of the wilderness, the buffalo. These majestic creatures, also known as bison, have roamed the North American continent for thousands of years, shaping both the ecology of the grasslands and the cultures of the Native American peoples who lived alongside them. The story of the buffalo is a tale of resilience and tragedy, of abundance and near extinction, and ultimately of recovery. It is a narrative that reflects the changing landscape of America itself, from the untouched wilderness of the past to the challenges of the present. Long before the arrival of Europeans to the continent, millions of buffalo roamed from the forest of Alaska to the grasslands of Mexico. They were the heart of life on the plains, providing the Native American tribes with food, clothing, shelter, and tools. Every part of the buffalo was used, nothing was wasted, and the animals were respected as sacred beings, integral to the survival and spirituality of the plains tribes. The arrival of European settlers in the 16th century marked the beginning of a dark chapter in the history of the buffalo. As settlers moved westward throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, the demand for buffalo hides and meat grew. The construction of the railroads brought hunters who killed the buffalo in vast numbers. By the late 1800s, the once numerous herds had been decimated. It is estimated that fewer than 1,000 buffalo remained, a stark contrast to the tens of millions that once roamed freely. This catastrophic decline brought the buffalo to the brink of extinction. The loss of the buffalo had a devastating impact on the Native American tribes, whose way of life was inextricably linked to the presence of these animals. Tribes faced starvation and were forced onto reservations, their cultures and independence eroded by the loss of the buffalo. However, the story of the buffalo does not end in tragedy. In the early 20th century, a concerted effort to save the buffalo from extinction began. Conservationists, some of whom were hunters who had participated in the slaughter, recognized the critical state of the buffalo population and started initiatives to protect and preserve the remaining animals. The establishment of national parks and wildlife reserves provided sanctuaries where buffalo could live protected from hunting. Breeding programs were initiated, and over time, the buffalo population began to recover. Today, thanks to these conservation efforts, there are several 100,000 buffalo living in the United States, both in the wild and in managed herds. The recovery of the buffalo is not just an environmental success story, it is also a cultural renaissance. For many Native American tribes, the return of the buffalo represents a hopeful symbol of the resilience and survival of their cultures. Tribes are now actively involved in the management and conservation of buffalo herds, using traditional knowledge to ensure that these animals thrive once again on the plains. The history of the buffalo is a powerful reminder of the impact humans have on the natural world. It teaches us the importance of respecting and protecting the diverse species that share our planet. The buffalo's near extinction and its subsequent recovery serve as a testament to the possibility of redemption and the importance of conservation. As we move forward, the buffalo continues to be a symbol of the American West, a living emblem of the wild and untamed spirit of the land. The story of the buffalo, with its themes of destruction, survival, and renewal, mirrors the broader narrative of our relationship with the environment. It urges us to consider the legacy we leave for future generations and the role we play in shaping the fate of the natural world. In the end, the history of the buffalo is not just about the past. It is a story that continues to unfold. As we strive to live in harmony with nature, the buffalo stands as a beacon of hope, reminding us of the resilience of life and the possibility of coexistence between humanity and the wild. It is a legacy that we must cherish and protect, for the buffalo is not only a part of our history, but also a vital part of our collective future. In the vast, sweeping plains of North America, where the sky kisses the earth at the horizon, roamed an animal that was once the heartbeat of the continent. The American buffalo, or bison, is not just an animal, it's a symbol of the wild, untamed spirit of the land. This story, the history of the buffalo, is a saga that stretches back thousands of years, woven into the very fabric of the earth itself. Our journey begins in the Ice Age, a time when mammoths and saber-toothed tigers roamed the earth. Among these giants, the ancestors of the modern buffalo began their journey. With their thick fur coats, they were well adapted to the harsh, cold environment, thriving in places that would later become the Great Plains and forests of North America. As millennia passed, the ice receded and the earth warmed. The landscape transformed into vast grasslands, an ideal habitat for the buffalo. Their numbers grew, and soon they became one of the most populous large mammals on the continent. It is estimated that there were as many as 60 million buffalo roaming North America, a testament to their success in this bountiful land. The buffalo was more than just an animal to the indigenous peoples of North America. It was a cornerstone of their way of life. Tribes across the plains developed cultures deeply intertwined with the buffalo, relying on them for food, shelter, clothing, and tools. Every part of the animal was used, ensuring nothing went to waste. The buffalo provided more than just material needs. It was central to the spiritual and cultural identity of many tribes. However, this harmonious existence was threatened with the arrival of Europeans in the 16th century. As settlers pushed westward, the fate of the buffalo became intertwined with the history of colonization, expansion, and the transformation of the American landscape. The 19th century marked a dark period in the history of the buffalo. Market hunting, fueled by the demand for buffalo hides and meat, and the westward expansion of railroads and agriculture led to an unprecedented slaughter. In addition, policies of the U.S. government aimed at subduing indigenous tribes indirectly targeted the buffalo, seen as a way to cut off the tribes from their source of sustenance and weaken their resistance. By the late 19th century, the once vast herds were nearly wiped out with only a few hundred buffalo remaining. This mass extermination represented not only an ecological disaster, but a profound loss for the indigenous peoples, whose cultures were deeply connected to these majestic creatures. But the story of the buffalo is also one of resilience and recovery. In the early 20th century, a conservation movement emerged, driven by the realization of the buffalo's near extinction. Individuals, both Native Americans and settlers, began efforts to protect the remaining herds and promote the breeding of buffalo in captivity. National parks and reserves such as Yellowstone became sanctuaries for these efforts. These conservation efforts gradually turned the tide. From the brink of extinction, the buffalo population began to slowly recover. Today, thanks to these efforts, there are several 100,000 buffalo in North America, living in national parks, private herds, and on tribal lands. The resurgence of the buffalo is not just an ecological success story, it's a symbol of hope and renewal. For many indigenous tribes, the return of the buffalo has sparked a cultural renaissance, reconnecting them with their heritage and traditions. The buffalo stands as a testament to what can be achieved when people come together to right the wrongs of the past and work towards a common goal. As we move forward, the buffalo continues to face challenges. Habitat loss, climate change, and the complexities of managing herds in a modern landscape pose new threats. However, the story of the buffalo teaches us about the resilience of nature and the importance of coexistence with the natural world. In conclusion, the history of the buffalo is a poignant reminder of our interconnectedness with the earth and its creatures. It's a story of loss, but also of hope, resilience, and the enduring spirit of a species that once roamed the plains in numbers as vast as the stars in the sky. As we look to the future, let us carry forward the lessons learned from the past, honoring the buffalo not just as a symbol of the wild, untamed spirit of the land, but as a guide towards a more sustainable and harmonious existence with nature.